Yo, how's it going, guys?
Hey, what's up, Josh? Hey, Greg.
Hey, so we got Mike here, of course, over here. This way,
This way from
and we have a guest tonight, Mike. And who is that?
That's Mr. Gregory from D&G Explorers, who is a
Woo!
horror movie expert.
uh
Yep.
in my own way.
He should put his own thumbnail up there and said horror expert Gregory.
Yeah, Mike's really good at making thumbnails of people coming on his show saying expert. So, he's really good at that. Before we get started on the 80s, so tonight's we're going to talk about good and bad 80s horror movies. So that means from 1980 all the way to the end of 89, of course. If it's in 1990, if it came out in January of 1990, it don't count. That don't count. So it has to be in the 80s. I want to say something real quick. We lost Carl Weathers, a movie icon in my opinion. I mean, you play Apollo Creed in the Rocky series, you're cemented for life, in my opinion. I grew up watching these movies. I remember watching Rocky 2 and 3 with my dad when it was on TV a bunch. And also I grew up, it's probably the movie I've seen the most in my life, and that's Predator. I've watched it hundreds of times. He is a big part in that movie as well, in Predator. And so, yeah, I've always, also in Happy Gilmore, he was really funny in that as Chubbs. Yeah. And I mean, he kind of had some life back into his career as of late, because he did Mandalorian. He was on there. He was just in like a Super Bowl commercial, like an ad with Gronkowski, where he did the Predator handshake with Gronkowski in the ad. And yeah, man, it's just sad. And me and Mike saw him, but I actually got to meet Carl Weathers and get his autograph. Mike, I know you saw him when we went to his interview. Interesting guy, lived a pretty interesting life, and he played for the NFL. I mean, really cool story on that guy.
Yeah, he was very classy, I can say that. And
Yep.
And it's kind of, me and Josh were talking about it today. When Josh found out about it first, I was like, man, we just put that interview out this week.
Yep.
And then, you just never know. But yeah, he was what, in his late 70s, 76 or something like that?
Yep, 76. But man, good. I mean, Mike, I dare say the guy was in a lot better shape than me and you.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that played in the NFL. I think he played in the is it the Canadian Football League? He played as well for a couple seasons.
Yep. Yeah.
And just him and Sylvester Stallone and Rocky, them together was just incredible.
Yeah, it was great, man. So, Gregory, you have anything you want to say about Carl Weathers?
I like you. I remember watching him in Rocky with my dad, and then also in Predator. And actually, for a little bit, I forgot that he was in Predator when I saw on Facebook, and I was like, "Oh wait, yeah, he was in Predator." Mm-hmm. And then Mandalorian. So, and I don't know if his character had closure in Mandalorian. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that now. If I know that they're not coming out with a direct fourth season. They're actually making a movie and putting it in the theater, and then they'll come back to a fourth season after that, I guess, from what I read. So I don't know what they did with this character.
I don't know if they filmed anything, or who knows if they filmed or if they have footage they could use, or I hope they don't go digital with his character, just recast it. You know what I mean? At this point, but yeah, what the heck? What was that?
I don't know.
Hello, Mike. You're muted.
I was giving you my best work.
Oh man, Mike.
I thought you were telling us off, and you just put us on mute so we couldn't hear what you said.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm going to start this off I want to start with a good 80s movie, and I'm going to start this off with American Werewolf in London from 1981. This movie is phenomenal. From the beginning to the end, it's great in my opinion. I mean, it's one of those movies that I can just watch over and over again, and it doesn't get old to me. I mean, and the special effects are great. The practical effects, the transformation is probably I think it's the best werewolf transformation, without using CGI. What? I think it's great, honestly. What do you guys think about that?
That's actually my first movie on my list. Like right there. I'm like, that's why I went, I love that movie actually. That's like the quintessential werewolf movie of the 80s, I think. Which I actually forgot another one, but I would say it's probably up there with The Howling, which I did not put on my list because I didn't even think about that. But yeah, but I still prefer American Werewolf in London over The Howling, even though The Howling was still a good movie. And now there you go. That's what he was doing, or you were doing.
I'm not doing it. Mike is.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at the scores on it. I mean, it was one of the best movies of the 80s.
Yep.
Probably even horror or non-horror. I mean, it got an 89 from the critics, 85 from the fans. We just did that one last year, Josh, and one of my favorite movies of the 80s. I agree with everybody.
And I'm going to say this. NECA made a hell of a figure of the werewolf, didn't they, Mike?
Yeah, they did. It's pretty awesome. Mine's still in the box, too. It's so good. I kept it in the box.
Oh, mine's back here, and it's phenomenal. It's an incredible creation that they made. It's spectacular. Mike, do you want to go on to a movie? Either bad or good, don't matter. What way you want to take it?
I'll probably have to let you guys go on the worst list. I got only a couple written down here because I just didn't get time to get to it. But a lot of them I saw on worst list, I kind of thought they were actually good. So I will say mine is early 80s as well. In fact, 1980. And this one had to do with some snow and a character and a son and a wife and a writer. And everybody can probably guess it now. It's The Shining.
Yeah. Awesome.
Jack Nicholson.
I didn't have that one.
Yeah, 1980. I mean, right in there to the very beginning of it. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Probably a top 5, 6 for me. And just the acting's incredible. The storyline, it's a very deep movie. We've also done a review on this one. So a lot of these we've probably done reviews on before in the past. So y'all can check those out. But there's so much. Every time I watch that movie, I pick up on political things that were going on during that time period. There's some hidden stories you feel like's going on.
Yep.
It's just one of those really deep movies that I didn't realize that when I was younger and watched it. And the more I studied on it and kind of researched it a little bit, it came out more. So I think it's an excellent movie, one of my favorites of all time.
Mike, would you say it's elevated horror then, Mike?
Not for me because I can't understand elevated stuff. It has to be in the basement for me.
Yeah.
But Josh, do you even remember? I mean, the score on it had to be really high, right?
Yeah, I enjoy the movie. I think it's great. I think there's so much going on that it's another one of those movies where it rewards you on repeat viewings. It totally rewards you. Gregory, what you thinking about that?
Well, with The Shining, I've seen it, but I don't know if it's one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
Jack Nicholson was good in it. I probably have to give it a whirl again. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
And it looks like Michelle is on here. I was gonna say she saw American Werewolf in London for the first time last year. It looks like.
Yeah.
So
Josh doesn't watch classic movies. I mean, that and The Exorcist he just finally saw last year. I mean,
what are you talking about? American Werewolf in London and this I've watched since I was a kid, dude. But listen, Gregory, this movie, watch it and then go on YouTube and do a deep dive on stuff, and you will not be disappointed, dude. There's so much stuff going on in this movie, Gregory. Isn't there, Mike? It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the movies, if we kind of recall things, that's not one of gosh, horror icon Stephen King. It's not one of his favorite movies adaptions. He did not like that movie.
No,
actually.
he likes the made for TV movie.
He made the
better
made
that
for
came out
TV
like
version
96.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't like this one. He didn't. So Gregory, what are you going with? Good or bad? I mean, it doesn't matter. Just whatever you want.
I'll go with the good. I was gonna say Holly Ayres. I did see the mini series that was out in was it late '90s or something like that, and it was decent. And then now they have that Doctor Sleep, which is the sequel, I think, to it also.
And that was really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
So I'm locked up. I might have to go out and back in, guys. Y'all keep going.
Yep.
Derek's here. I did not like the movie. The Shining was weird. I'm not a Jack Nicklaus fan. Yeah,
he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal in it. Gives a performance of a lifetime, in my opinion.
So the next one that I picked was Nightmare on Elm Street. Now I would say the original was really good. The second one scared the crap out of me. That was probably the one that really got to me because I was little, and I thought in the movie when Freddy comes out of the guy's stomach and basically the guy turns into Freddy. I thought that was going to happen to me when I was little. It freaked me out. But yeah, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, that's a classic. That's, a quintessential horror movie, especially for Wes Craven.
Yeah, definitely. The first Nightmare on Elm Street still holds up, still really good. You got you got Nancy in there, and she's really, what is her name?
Heather Langenkamp.
Yeah, Heather Langenkamp does a really good job. I was gonna say that. So in the 80s, we had Freddy 1 through 5. And so it went from 84 to 89, but the only year one didn't come out was 1986. There was not one that came out in 86, but every other year had a Freddy for 5 Freddys.
They were out.
Yep. And the original Nightmare on Elm Street, that's really it's me and Mike have yet to cover that movie, which we have to. And it's really good. I like some of the inventive stuff that Wes Craven does. In the some of the practical effects, and I just think Freddy Krueger ended up becoming, I would say, the biggest horror figure of that time. He ended up outdoing Jason and Michael Myers just because he talks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He ended up outdoing those, becoming a bigger figure because they had him on MTV. They had him on things because he hosted things because he could talk. You know what I mean? So he ended up actually growing bigger than those other two entities. Not saying his movies were better, but it just ended up happening that way.
It's to me a totally different horror movie because it was, he was scary, definitely scary, but he cut jokes and stuff too. Whereas Michael Myers didn't do that, Jason didn't do that. He was one of the first ones that cut jokes up, other than Child's Play character Chucky.
Right. Well, Chucky didn't come out to 88 though, so Freddy was already doing his stick time that came out. But just because the other two didn't talk didn't mean their movies wasn't just as silly as his movies, in my opinion. Some of the later ones got real silly, even though they didn't talk. Not that they were silly, but the movies themselves got silly. Freddy
was intentionally being silly.
The later the movies went, the worse it got.
Yeah,
for sure, Mike. No doubt about that. It got really bad. By 4 and 5, it was bad.
So I went back and was watching it the other day, and I was telling Michelle about the story behind, she had forgotten about it. I mean, because you look at it, what is it, 1980? What was it? 80 what?
84.
84?
Yeah.
So I started telling the whole story about him and the kids and all that. And Michelle's like, God, that's really dark. I was like, yeah. Five Nights at Freddy dark. Some other movies that, they've been dark like that too, with kids and death and it and all those things. I said, that's kind of the OG. I mean, Freddy was the OG on that kind of stuff.
The thing about it is, I can't remember, but I remember seeing something where in the first movie, he wasn't made to be a pedophile, but in later movies, they say that he was. like originally in the first movie he was just a child murderer. He wasn't like a pedophile on top of that. But I think in later movies they ended up adding that onto that. I think I remember hearing something about that.
I'd have to go back and watch the original. It's been a while, but
yeah, it has a great young cat. I mean, young Johnny Depp is in it. You know, I mean, it's got her. I mean, Heather Langenkamp. You know, she's good in it. Yeah, definitely a movie series. And like I said, they vary in, you know, as the later you go. I think one is like the highest, but then I think among fans, number 3 is actually, people love number 3 like next. Like a lot of people don't like number 2 because it's kind of like its own thing, and a lot of people don't like it. It's kind of like the stepchild of the movies, I guess. And then number 4, it gets like wacky, and then number 5, it's just like nuts wacky. So but yeah, I heard number 3 is really good. Gregory said he enjoyed number 2 growing up. He actually was scared by it. I haven't watched number 2 in a long time. I don't know if I like it or not. I can't remember. So I'm going to have to revisit that one for sure.
2 has a big stigma to it. After they filmed it, and like years later, when they rewatched it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, we didn't realize this." And there's a lot of innuendos, I will say, in that movie. And then the actor himself, you know, if you look into the history of everything of that movie, it's kind of funny and ironic, actually, because it all leads to one thing. And they were
this
like,
was number 2.
Yep, they were like, we did not realize that.
Yeah,
I must have missed that one.
Well, it has a lot of gay undertones, right, Gregory?
Yeah, and the actor was so, yeah.
He was actually the main actor was at Mad Monster, Mike, when we were there. The main guy from Nightmare on Elm Street 2 was there.
Okay.
Yeah, yep. I saw him a couple times.
Okay.
He was out in that big room with Jesse Ventura was.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, varying degrees. The Freddy movies are good, bad. You know, the earlier ones are good, considered good. The later ones are bad. Okay, so I'm gonna go with a bad here. I'm gonna go with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This is the only. So the original one came out in 74, Mike?
Yes, 1974.
Okay, so they did a sequel in 1986, 12 years later. And the sequel is batshit crazy, in my opinion. Yeah, you can see the scores here. Leatherface is played by a different actor because Gunnar Hansen wanted too much money. So they said, we can just find another big guy. We don't need you. And some of the people do reprise. This is a direct sequel to the original because it continues on from that. And it has like a lot of the same characters. They bring back actors from the first one. Leatherface does this goofy dance in it a ton where he goes with his chainsaw like this. I mean, It is so ridiculous. And Toby Hooper, that's the guy that directed the original, right, Mike?
Yep.
Yeah, he did this one as well. And he said, I can't top that movie, the original. So I'm just going to do something totally out of left end zone or whatever, how you say that. So he did. And it's
you say left end zone?
I don't know what left park, whatever you say.
Left
How about
field?
right field? How about right field?
Oh, right field, yeah.
Right or left field?
I said it wrong. I was talking to Neff Campbell. I like your movies.
I love your movies a lot. So, hey, doesn't number 2 have Dennis Hopper in it?
Yeah, and he's nuts.
I love Dennis Hopper as actor. He's crazy good. But
so what I saw, Mike, is that
is this the one where it was taking the hanger and sticking it in his head and he's like licking the hanger thing or something?
Chop Top.
Chop Top, yeah.
He's supposed to be the twin brother of the guy from the first one.
The hitchhiker.
Yes. That's who he's supposed to be. He's like
I think
the
his
twin
name's
brother.
Sawyer Newby or Nebby or
Right.
something.
So he's supposed to be. He was supposed to be the twin brother of that guy, Chop Top, and yeah, the movie's just weird. Dennis Hopper, instead of going after these people with guns, he goes after them with a big chainsaw and 2 small chainsaws on his side. It's just a weird, wild movie. Not that it's like horrible, but when they were aiming for something different, and I understand that. But you probably shouldn't have done this because it's very it's more of a dark comedy than anything.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of blood and guts, though. Mike, have you seen this, Mike?
Yeah, I remember seeing this at a friend's house back in the 80s. And we all, as a high schooler, we just all laughed at it. I mean, it was not a serious. Yeah, that's to me, some of these movies, as far as what's best and worst, is I think nowadays we've went back and looked at things and said that's a fun horror movie. It's not taken serious like some of the Friday the 13th even are like, hey, that's just a fun, campy. But back in and when it came out in the time, you're thinking it's serious and you're like, oh God, this sucks. But then also you did have those cheesy Toxic Avenger type movies that came out. They were like, hey, this is supposed to be fun. So it's kind of a hard take, especially, with me being in my early 50s and you guys in your 40s. And I'm sorry, Gregory, if you're not 40, I don't know how old you are. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's a different time period, I think, overall. And it's a little bit odd, but yeah, I can see definitely the audience and the critics did not like it, even though the critics actually gave it a better score than the audience, which is shocking to me.
Yeah, this is one that I did not watch, but I watched it, abbreviated version of it, and it just seems bad. And I kind of want to go back and watch it, but then it's like, dang, the reason why Dennis Hopper did this movie, Mike, is because his career was kind of in a lull. But like while he filmed this movie and it was like getting edited, he was in a movie that actually did really well. So his career shot up. And then this movie came out and people were like, wait, why is he in this movie? It was kind of like one of those things happen.
Well, it's kind of like, it's not on my list for best or worst, but one of my favorite kind of cult films in that time period was A River's Edge, which had Dennis Hopper in it. It's not really a horror movie, but it's like a drama dark movie that had Keanu Reeves. It was one of the first movie Keanu Reeves even played in. And it had Dennis Hopper in that one as well, but it's called A River's Edge. It also had your boy that did the crazy dance in the Friday the 13th movie. What's his name?
Something Glover.
What's his name?
Something Glover.
Oh yeah, Crispin.
Crispin Glover. Yeah, he was in that movie as well.
I like
him, Keanu Reeves, and Dennis Hopper are all in that movie, A River's Edge. And I thought it was a good movie, but that's not my best or worst. Go ahead and go.
No, you're ready. You're up, Mike.
Oh, I'm up. So I do have one bad one here that I've tried to watch it a couple times. I get about halfway through it and I just give up. And I'm a Friday the 13th fan. And that's Friday the 13th, 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Horrible.
I just cannot, man. I'm sorry. I mean, I like Jason. He's one of my favorite characters. The movies are overall for Friday 13th. They're overall very bad. They're kind of those that you're pulling for him to kill the young teenagers having sex in the back seat somewhere.
Well, and then they want you to believe that somehow this lake at Crystal Lake connects to the ocean that goes to New York. Yeah. Yep.
It's right there next to the. Next time you cruise out of New York, Josh, you're coming up soon. Crystal Lake connects to that. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I think our ship goes through
really bad, and I love Kane Hodder. I love Kane Hodder. He's one of my favorite Jasons. He's in that movie. It's so bad. 7's so much better than 8. And
and the best part about 8 is the way NECA made that figure. It's probably one of the best Jason figures there is out of one of the worst movies. Now, I
will say this: in one of the interviews with Kane Hodder, though, he does say that is probably the pinnacle of his career. Is being in downtown and being in Manhattan and New York, and them shutting the streets down, and he's there in a mask, and he's up on the big screen up on the billboards, and He said it was an awesome. He said it probably didn't last but 10 minutes, but he said it was one of the most awesome acting parts of his career.
And Michelle said, we will be on the lookout for Crystal Lake next to Statue of Liberty. Hey, so let's deep dive into, because you brought up Friday the 13th, so there's a lot to cover there. So let's kind of deep dive in that real quick. So there's 8 Friday the 13th films that came out in the 80s. I mean, that's crazy. The years that they did not have one come out is 83 and 87. And that's pretty crazy. Yeah, listen, growing up, Mike, I saw number 8 a bunch because it was always on TV. So I grew up watching this one. And you know which one gets a bad rap, Mike, that I watched and I'm like, holy crap, this is actually a good movie? Friday the 13th Part 5, dude. That's actually a good movie.
I like it. Josh. I think it's not that bad.
Yeah, Gregory, do you like do you like Part 8? Do you not like Part 8? Do you like Part 5?
Is the 5th one the one with a telekinetic girl?
No, that's number 7.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I like that one.
That one's good.
The Manhattan one, Mike, you said you never watched that full movie?
Yeah, I got to, halfway, 2/3 through it, and I just cut it off. I mean, I can't make it all the way through it. I'm sorry.
The ending's horrible, Mike.
If you watched it all the way through to see how they got rid of him.
It's so bad.
It looks so fake. It's like a puppet that they used, and like his size went down to whoop. And the puppet, the mouth, it looked horrible. But
and then like Jason's like a fully grown zombie man, and then the acid comes, and then he's like, "Mommy," like in a little kid's voice. And then when the acid hits him, when the acid goes away, he's a little kid again, like a human, and he's just like there, balled up in a ball. Like what?
So look at this. I mean, it got an 11 and a 27.
Yeah,
11. This may be, let's mark this down. This may be the worst movie we talked about tonight.
Mike, eventually we are going to review this, so you will have to watch it all the way through.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
I did have Friday the 13th on my list. I was probably thinking more of the original.
Yeah.
But I do like the one when Jason's actually in it, which was the second one as well. So
I'll still stand by that one's the best. That one's better than the first one. Number 2 is better than the first one, in my opinion, because I like Jason as the killer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
better. It's better, Mike.
Telling you, the Friday 13th original, there's so much hidden stuff you guys gotta dive into it. I mean,
Mike, I watched it.
Which one is the first one? I mean, franchise breaking thing here. I mean, how many times has a woman been a killer, a serial killer? How many times in history? It was like the first.
Too.
The point of view in that movie where you're seeing things from the killer point of view. Also, a little hidden gem is that you hear the music in the cha-cha.
Yeah, but the characters are bland, Mike.
Well, I mean, yeah, so what? I mean, it's a horror movie in the 80s, man.
I think the character, as it
I
goes
do
on,
like 2. I do like 2, and I like, her name Steele? Her last name Steele?
She's the best final girl in the Friday the 13th
I do like 2,
franchise.
and I like the mask, the sack face Jason.
Sackhead, yeah, Jason's good in the sack.
I grew up watching The Town That Dreaded Sundown, and that scared the crap out of me, and that was just a sack on the head. I mean, 3 is the hockey mask, and that's the only thing that's iconic in that movie.
No, I like the one where he shoots the girl with the harpoon.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
There's some good kills in that movie. It's just really boring and bad.
The sack look also was in The Strangers. They tried to bring it back in The Strangers, but it looked more like a pillowcase over his head than a sack.
So number 4 was really good though. Friday the 13th 4. I think that's one of the top ones. I mean, that's the beginning of the Tommy Jarvis trilogy. And then like people didn't like number 5 because it wasn't really Jason. But you don't know it's not really Jason to the end. Like it's. I think it's.
That's the Roy Burns movie.
Yeah, I think it's.
Then you find out, but then it ruins it after that.
Mike, I gotta ask you one question.
You kind of like Halloween Kills.
You afraid of rubber spiders?
Wow.
Oh,
That's in
man.
Friday the 13th Part 5, and it's funny, dude.
All right, we've hit the garbage. Let's talk about a good movie.
Hey, number 6 is good though, Mike. Too. Number 6 ain't bad.
No, it's not too bad. I like number 7. Some of the kill scenes in 7 where he takes the sleeping bag and beats across the tree. I mean, that's a classic. That's a top 3 or 4 kill for Jason.
And they redid it in Jason X when they had the hologram. He did it again in that movie too. That was
a throwback, a callback. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, remember number 5 where that one guy gets hit right in his bald spot with like a hammer?
Oh yeah. One of those movies was really horrible though when Jason throws a hammer. And I remember back watching this on a VCR.
That's number 4.
Sticks into the wall. The claw doesn't even go into the wall.
Right.
So I remember watching it as a teenager, me and all my friends, like pausing it right at that scene.
It's like a dart.
The hammer's like a dart in the wall, and you're like, "Come on, guys."
That's number 4, Mike.
Oh me.
So okay, well we talked about that. So there's so the Friday the 13th series. I mean, really, the biggest stinkers to me out of the ones from the 80s are 3 and 8. Those are the biggest stinkers to me, but that's just my opinion.
So in 10 years, they put out 8 movies.
That's crazy, isn't it, Mike?
God.
Yep. It was about quantity, not quality.
There's YouTube channels that feel that way too.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Gregory, you're up, buddy.
So I'm gonna say Child's Play, the original Child's Play, is probably one of the best ones out there. But I will say I have to say Child's Play 1 and 2 because I really did like the second one a lot as well.
Yeah, but number two didn't come out to the 90s. No,
it came out. Let me see.
When? Child's Play 2 was 1990.
Yep.
Did I?
It was a 10-year. They probably filmed it in the 80s.
But yeah, it came out.
Okay. Yep.
Come on now, Gregory.
Yep. Okay. So, Child's Play 1. Okay. I liked how like the ending seemed like it was going and going. Like they shoot him and then they burn him and then they shoot him again, kind of thing. And it's like. Then you have the burnt hand still alive. I'm like, oh my gosh, really? So it was really cool though because his head was still alive, which controlled the arms and everything. Yeah. But I think that was the beginning of the big doll movement, really, because then they started, which I have some of those movies on here. They started a lot of doll movie franchises and stuff, and some of them were so bad.
Puppet Master.
Chucky's the original.
Hey, so I was watching stuff on Child's Play. Me and Mike did a review on it. I think we both enjoyed the first one, didn't we, Mike?
Was that 1988?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So the one thing that I did not know about this movie is that as the movie goes along, because Chucky turns more and more human, his whole face and everything, just everything about the doll, in the beginning he looks like a doll. And then as the movie goes on, he's starting to look more and more human. And I didn't realize that. And I'm like, holy crap, that is true. He's starting to look more and more human in the doll body. I love I think one of the best parts. What?
We're just talking to somebody. You keep going. You keep going on, Talk Master.
Hey, no, I'm just saying, one of the best parts is where the mother's like, I'm going to throw you in the fire. And he's like, you goddamn bitch. And it starts like going after her. And I was like, that is like one of the most, I think that was a shocking scene in that movie. And people probably were just like, oh my God.
I'm going to tell you a scene in that movie that still creeps me out when I watch it today. And me and Anthony watched it not long ago, was when the doll rolls up underneath the couch. And she reached down there and she pulls it out and opens up the back of it, and there's no batteries in it. Yeah, man, I'm getting cold chills now thinking about it. I mean, I remember watching that back in the day, not at the theater, but seeing it in the in the living room with my family and stuff. And first saw that, I was like, yeah, I mean, that was freaky.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's good. I think that score is pretty good, for that time. So yeah, Anything else you want to say about it, Mike? Greg?
No, I mean it started basically a dynasty now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like the OG, and you got Abigail and some of these other ones after it, but it's kind of the OG.
Yep.
Let me ask a quick question. I know we're talking about 80s horror.
Yep.
Do you think they will come out with a Chucky and Megan
I
movie?
mean, they could.
In the next 10 years, do you think one will happen?
Yeah, I think so. 10 years. I mean, it's different though. Like Megan is like a robot that's just like gone haywire, and Chucky is like like voodoo and stuff. So it's like a different entity, and like Megan never will become human. Chucky can, and that's like a weakness of his. That would be of his over Megan.
But Megan is AI, which artificial intelligence is very scary to me anyway. And she becomes self-aware, so
she kind of becomes kind of human-like.
Yeah, at that point, she's in the internet now. Spoiler alert, sorry for anyone that hasn't watched it, but she's kind of out there now, So that's freaky to me.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, I thought Megan was good. I thought it could use more blood and stuff, but besides that, I thought it was okay. But we're not talking about that.
PG-13.
Yeah. Chucky wouldn't work as a PG-13 movie. Like Chucky has to be a rated R movie. So
well,
I don't know if any of
the language bomb he dropped in the first one, it's probably gonna say that.
One of my favorite lines was number 3 where he was like, I think it was like, "Don't fuck with the Chuck." I love that line. It's great. Okay, so I'm gonna go to one right here that might not be on your guys' list, but Reanimator came out in 1985, and it is sick. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I would say this is good, but it is disgusting. They really pushed the limits on gore and a lot of things in this movie. Mike, have you seen this? Greg, have you seen it?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, and it was on my 80s.
I've seen it many, many years ago, but it is a good movie.
It pushes the boundaries, Mike.
It's the Terrifier back then.
Yes, it is. I mean, they almost have a decapitated head that is alive, really close to a woman down there. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's very
that's
Mike, but it's. I mean, bring up that Rotten Tomatoes score, Mike. I think it's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually really high.
Yeah,
this
it's
might be
highly
one of the highest
regarded.
ones
I know that. Yeah, it's
horror comedy.
Yep.
A comedy. Okay.
The gore.
Yeah, I mean it's freaky because you got this thing that's cut up on this mad scientist type thing. Not saying too much about it, but he's got body parts. It's kind of like a Frankenstein because he's trying to. Yeah, it's crazy.
So he has he's trying to prove that he can, bring back people from the dead. And he has this liquid that he created. He's a scientist, and he can inject it into things and it will come back alive. And it just gets nuts because then some of the things that come back to life, they have their agenda. It's not like they're just zombies. I mean, they can think. So it gets pretty crazy. It gets pretty gnarly. Yeah, don't eat a heavy lunch and then watch this movie.
I don't know if I'll ever watch that movie. I mean, if it's like Terrifier, I don't think I'm going to ever watch Terrifier movies.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I didn't think it maybe be on your guys' list.
If you've watched Saw X, you can watch Terrifier. I'm telling you right now.
Okay, Mike, you're up, buddy.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
God, man, I got like 20 written down here. So I'm gonna go with one. We've done the review on this one as well, and it's The Thing, 1982.
Amazing. I mean,
I know it's a remake of the original years ago, but The Thing, man, it's just great acting, psychological thriller. You still today don't know really what happened at the very end. And John Carpenter, to his day he dies, will not say what really happened. He wants you to think about it. There's new things coming out all the time about, was it McCready? Was it the other guy? I mean, it's such a great psychological thriller.
Amazing.
The new True Detective movie starting out reminds me of kind of the thing like at first,
Yep.
but then it's
Me,
a
same
different
here,
story.
Mike.
I started watching that and I was like, man, are they trying to rip that off from back in the day?
Yeah, I think the thing, dude, is like in my top 5 horror movies of all time. Of all time for me. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's such a good movie. It can start off a little slow, but you know, we build stories in the 80s, you know. Build it, you gotta layer those stories in there.
I don't think it's slow.
Derek
it's a little
likes
slow
the
at the
thing
beginning.
too.
Huh?
I said Derek likes a thing too.
Yeah, it's just a good psychological thriller.
I love the practical effects that they did in that movie,
Yes.
and I saw how they did some of them, and it's just crazy. And they do have it was a prequel that came out later, so that it's kind of weird because it has CGI and stuff, you know, that we have now, but it's still a prequel. So it still doesn't explain what happened at the end of the original, which I don't really remember the original. So like I got to watch it again. We have both of them here. So
Yeah. Listen, Michelle says it's elevated horror before elevated horror. I mean, I think I kind of agree with that. Mike, it makes you think, man. I mean, you don't know. I mean, it really, there's a lot that goes into it. And what technically makes someone the thing? I mean, just touching it and like, because when that dog jumps up on those guys and it's licking those guys' face, that puts that thing onto those guys, whether they know it or not.
it's bacterial, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's an insane movie. It's great. I love it. Like you said, the effects. It holds up. It holds up really well. I think the critic score is low here. I think it should be in the 90s with the audience.
That dog part kind of gets to me because I love animals, and just I know it's fake, but just seeing what happens to the dog and everything, it's like I think it was turned inside out basically. And
well, that was the thing though. That wasn't a dog. That was the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they showed part of the dog's head, and then it was like transforming and all that stuff. It was gross.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think on Rotten Tomatoes, there's only been 84 reviews on it, so that's probably why it's got an 85. It's got over 100,000 on the audience, and they give it a 92. So I would say probably if there was more reviews, it would be higher.
I think I give that 10 out of 10, Mike. I think that's one I gave 10 out of 10 in my opinion. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good movie.
Yeah. Yep. And Mike, you know what you see now? A lot of people argue that's. I know you would not say that, but a lot of people argue that's his best movie he's ever done. So
I mean, it's right there with Halloween. I mean, you know I can't go against Halloween, the original Halloween.
I know you can't. But
it's a remake,
right?
He did throw his own spin on it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
The Halloween he wrote it himself with somebody else, but
right. So Gregory, you're up next, buddy.
So I'll keep with the John Carpenter thing, and I think he wrote Halloween with Deborah Hill, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. But the movie They Live, I don't know if you remember that with Rowdy Piper.
Yep, I like that one.
And you have to wear the special glasses. Yeah, Derek and I really like that movie too. And the ending was, I'm like, wait, what just happened? And Derek told me, I'm like, oh, okay, now I remember, because it's been a while since we've seen it, but we have it on DVD, and it's like all these subliminal messages that are hidden until you wear these glasses and you see what they really mean. That's pretty scary. I mean, even now with what we're going through now, there's subliminal messages, but you don't need special glasses to see what's going on. So, but it does make you think, like, are aliens out there? Derek and I think that they are, and they might have been out there for a while, and people just don't realize it. So, right. But yeah, that's a good movie. I liked it.
Yep, it's really good. Love it. Mike?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen that. I love Roddy Piper. That's one of his first ones he really started acting in, right? He did a couple other movies.
He's good in it. He
was a good actor. I mean, he's a great wrestler too.
Yes. Great heel, Mike.
Yeah, that's one of those movies I think that even back then it holds up now. But I could see them redoing that one again, you know?
Yep, definitely.
I don't know if I want them to redo that, though. I don't know if I want them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's what, 40 years old? Almost 40 years old?
Yeah, yep.
35 years old. I mean, a lot of the generation now, I mean, they've never even, you know, just like Josh and I were talking one time, you know, they think, you know, Jenny Ortega is like, is greater than Nev Campbell. They don't. A lot of them hadn't even seen the original Scream, you know.
Yeah,
and that was only back in the 90s. So,
Greg, did I tell you that story? Greg, did I tell you that story? I told Mike. So, you know, me and Michelle and Mike and Anthony were going to that horror con, and we were going to go see the Scream cast. And Michelle told one of her younger coworkers at work, said, "Hey, we're going to go meet the Scream cast." And the girl said, or the guy said, "Oh, you're meeting Jenna Ortega?" Like, she didn't even think about the other cast. Like, to her, or him, that's Scream. And so that's just, but that is, I understand. 5 and 6 that's for a new generation. So I get it.
He says,
okay,
yes.
So
remake it.
Yeah,
Derek says, remake it. Go ahead, let's see it again.
Well,
yeah,
they
why
could
not?
Or they could do a sequel of what happens afterwards, you know, kind of thing. It doesn't have to be an actual remake. They could do it where they like how shows do it. Like they show you the everything that happened before to bring you up to speed. They could do it at the beginning to get everybody nowadays up to speed with what it is, and then go from there.
That's like all the Jason movies, Friday the 13th in the 80s. They all had the first 5 minutes was a recap of the previous movie.
I hate that. I hate that.
That's a recap, yes.
They all the 80 horror movies did that. A lot of them did that. I was like,
And
if it was back to the first one, it was like a 5-minute recap. I felt like I was watching I felt like I was watching Max, you know, HBO Max when they showed the episode before. But but back then it was 5 minutes. Now it's just 30 seconds.
Mike, but the continuity didn't matter anyway because they didn't hardly follow it anyway in the next movie. So why did they want to show us what happened in the past movie?
Well, Josh, you got to remember that was the steroid time period, and that's when Jason went from 160 pounds and 5'6" to overnight being 6'6" and 275 pounds of solid muscle.
Yeah, with traps like Bill Goldberg, dude. I mean. Okay, so I'm going to go to bad. I'm going to tell you. Listen, you guys are not going to want to hear about these movies.
Perfect.
Listen.
Meg says, release a movie a year and need a recap because you couldn't remember what happened last
year. Yeah, that's dumb. Listen, guys, I'm going for it. And it's horrible because this is coming from one of the all-time great movies. Oh, Jaws 3D and Jaws Revenge.
Are you kidding me? I didn't even put those on my list. I was like, no, I'm not doing it.
These are his worst. These got to be your worst movies, right?
Yeah, worst. Jaws 3D came out in 1983. And then the worst one of all, Jaws Revenge, which is horrible. I mean, it's absolute. Like, I'd rather watch Jaws 3D.
Oh, my gosh. You wait till you see the score on this one. Wait till We're taking bids right now. What do you think the tomato meter score is on Jaws Revenge?
Oh, I'm gonna say a 5 and a 5 from a 5 from critics and like an 8 from audience.
Gregory, what do you think?
Less than 20 at least for both.
Wait till you see this.
Oh my God!
Oh, okay.
There's 41 critics that saw that. They gave it a 0.
It's horrible. Well, it is absolutely dog shit.
I haven't watched it. Thank God. That's at least an hour and a half of my life I didn't waste.
At the end of the first one, it's like a rubber shark, basically, that they supposedly impale with the boat, but it looked totally horrible, fake.
Mike, did you see Jaws 3D? Bring that score up.
All right, let me
3D was pretty bad.
Y'all keep talking while I find this up.
Yeah, Jaws 3D is bad. Like I said, I mean, Jaws 1, incredible. Jaws 2, not great, but okay.
I love 2 more than I love 1, actually.
Oh, no way.
I think 2 had more action than the first
It
one. I always
does.
thought the first one was,
It was
so
Jaws
boring.
3D, 3D?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a little bit better, but not a whole lot, guys.
Oh man,
Wow.
it's
How
bad.
can you go from a classic movie like Jaws, and I mean, one of the greatest of the 70s, to just stinkers like this, man? It's all
So
about that right there.
Jaws 3D takes place at SeaWorld, Mike. I think in
God.
Ohio, right?
Yeah, I gave up after number 2. I quit watching them. I'll be honest
Number
with you.
2, I like number 2, but it's not as good as the original, in
I
my
like
opinion.
1 and 2, and we have all 4, but I like the first 2 the best.
Wait a minute, you own all 4, Gregory?
The 2, 3, and 4 I think are in one set, and then the first one is like a special edition of the original. So
Yeah, they're bad, man. I've only seen 4 once a long time ago, and I turned it off. It was on free TV.
Well, Holly
I was
says
like,
4 wasn't bad.
who said?
it
Holly
wasn't
Ayers
bad,
says 4 wasn't bad.
No, it's horrible.
it wasn't the greatest.
It's not bad. It's horrible.
So let me tell you the plot of it. The wife of the main guy, the sheriff, and her kids go to an island to get away, and the shark, Jaws 4, whatever it is intelligent enough to follow the family to this island from wherever it was in New Jersey to attack them.
To the Caribbean.
Yep. Yep. So
Well,
that's the plot of the
Holly
movie.
says the book is really good for Jaws.
Well,
Original Jaws.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Meg 1 and Meg 2 make better sense than 3 and 4 of Jaws. So
Megs are bad, dude. I tried to watch the Meg 2 and it was bad.
We like
Somebody's yelling help back here when you said that. Help, help.
And they're doing a 3rd Meg also. We can't wait.
Oh, why do you give them? That's like
Funny.
Mike running to the theater to watch Halloween Ends, Gregory.
Well, these are based off of books. These are based from books, so they have a meaning of making them into movies. So
Okay, Mike, you're up, man. After I put in there some good ones, there we had some good conversation.
I'm going to go on one that some people may not think. I'm going to leave one for you, Josh. I know you're going to pick this one, so I'm going to give you this softball here. But I'm going to pick one I remember clearly. I was a freshman in high school, 1986, The Fly.
Oh yeah, that's great.
The original Fly. Does
wait,
it really stand up nowadays with the special effects? Some of it does, maybe some of it doesn't. But
it's
Jeff
not
Goldblum, man.
Jeff Goldblum.
I love Jeff Goldblum. He's a hell of an actor.
Gina Davis in it too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was good, but it wasn't the original Fly.
No.
no.
The original Fly was what, in the 50s or 40s or 60s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Place.
So yeah, it was their own take on it. But yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean the original Fly. But yeah, the Fly 1986, I think, is one that is
great.
It put Jeff Goldblum on the map, really.
Yep.
And Gina Davis was already a star already. That's one of those I think was filmed early on up in Canada, I believe, as well.
Remember that part where his jaw just fell off?
Yes, and then his eyeball fell out too.
And remember he just like pull his nails out? Oh, it was sick, dude.
Yeah, I think for that time period, it was a pretty good movie, and the acting was good in it. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with The Fly
on DVD. The second one, the whole thing with the dog and the second one, that really bothered me. I did not like that.
I don't know when the second one came out. I think it was. Do you know who was in that? The guy that was going to be Marty McFly was in that second one.
But the dog, that bothered me so much watching it. It almost makes you want to cry. If you love animals.
That's pretty graphic right there. I mean, just look at that.
Yeah. Look at that score, man. Wow.
Awesome.
Incredible.
Makeup.
Yep. I like it. I think it's great. I haven't watched it in a while, but I need to watch it again. So, hey, Gregory.
What an awesome movie poster for back then, too. I don't know if y'all remember that. Like the time capsule thing. Not the time capsule, but the machine. I mean, it was really cool.
Yep. Okay, Gregory, what do you got, man?
Okay, so I've been doing good ones, so I'm going to do a bad one. Or B-rated, not really bad, but...
Well, you don't think any movie's bad.
Well, I don't think they're that great all the time. I'll still watch them. So, do you remember the movie The Blob from the 80s?
Yeah.
So that one isn't that great. It's okay, but that was one of my B-rated movies. Was the 80s The Blob?
It's got some good special effects though.
Yeah, it did.
I remember the one part where that blob got the guy in the house and it's just like eating him, like it's crazy. Mike, do you remember this movie from the 80s?
I do remember it. I remember it, the original Blob that's not an original either. I don't think it's a remake of original.
Right. What's that Rotten Tomato score on that one? Wow. Higher than I thought for the critics.
Yeah.
And do you know who's in that movie?
Who?
It's right there on the right.
She was in the Saw movies. She played oh my gosh, what's her name? The one that survived in the first one.
She's in that?
Yes. Yep. What was
got
her name?
Shawnee Smith.
Yes, Shawnee Smith.
Yep.
Evan Dillon. Donovan Leitch.
Shawnee Smith played oh crap. His protege.
Amanda. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
They had some good parts, like when you see the stuff going over this guy and it's like just melting him and yelling. And then one where the girl was in a telephone booth and it just kind of, the telephone booth implodes because it like fills it up and she was in there stuck and it just, the whole thing implodes.
I'm going to have to watch that again, man. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I think that might be a good one to rewatch for sure. Mike, do you have many memories about it?
No, not really, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, not hardly any at all.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go to one that is a favorite of mine. I absolutely love this movie, and that is Fright Night. I love this movie.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I like the remake, too.
The remake's not horrible, but it's not as good as the original.
I haven't seen the second one, but
the second one I've watched on YouTube. It's like really hard to get. Yeah, I love Fright Night. Look at that face, man.
Not the best special effects picture right there, though.
That was the girl from Married with Children.
Yeah, that is the lady from The Neighbor, Marcy.
Yeah.
So this has a really cool vampire in it, played by actually a guy that's in Child's Play. He plays the cop in Child's Play, the main cop.
Yeah.
But he's really good in it as the vampire. I love it because it's like a kid next door and nobody believes that they're living next to a vampire. And he actually like goes and tries to get this guy that's like a actor, that's like a vampire hunter, an actor, and he's trying to get him to believe him, and he ends up believing him. And they go and they try to hunt this vampire, and it's really good. I really enjoy it. I haven't watched it in a little bit, but I try to watch it. Usually try to watch it every year, but I just haven't. I like the special effects in this movie, and I like the cast. I think it's good. It's really good, actually. So, Mike, do you remember this movie at all?
Actually, I didn't. I watched it a long time ago, and you kept talking about it, and I watched it again about a year ago. And it wasn't bad. I mean, some of the stuff's kind of cheesy, I mean, for the time period. But, I mean, overall, the story's interesting. The teenagers in it, trying to – so it's definitely worth a watch. I mean, I think it's solid. Gregory?
We have it on DVD and then the remake, and I actually like both of them. The original had that one guy that would yell out something Brewster or something like that. He was the friend, and he ended up turning into that werewolf type thing.
Yep.
So he was an interesting character.
Yeah. Can't remember his name right now. But yeah, good movie. Mike?
Yep.
You want to go?
Is it my turn next?
Yeah.
So I tried to leave this for you, and you didn't bring it up. And I saw Derek. Derek called them the Playboys.
Oh my gosh.
What the hell is that?
But I think he really meant the Lost Boys. So the Lost Boys. Gotta call the Lost Boys. I left it there for you, Josh. Mike, I was like, surely he's going to say that next.
Mike, believe it or not, I don't have that on my list at all. I didn't think.
Man, 1987.
Incredible.
The Lost Boys. classic. I'm kicking myself because I'm going on a cruise in 2 weeks, and the whole Lost Boys cast is coming to Charlotte, North Carolina. I could have went to it. Let me show the score here. I think it's actually a little bit lower of a score than I thought it should get. Because I think it's a lot better than that.
Oh yeah, it's
but
better.
They got it as a 77 and an 85, and I think it's so much better movie than that 77 score.
I mean, it's got a really good cast.
It had a lot of good 80s music. I have the soundtrack, and then they just came out with a special edition 4K Blu-ray that I ordered, and I haven't watched it still yet. But it's like 2 hours away from us is the big major area, the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk that they used to film a lot of it.
They still show that movie on the. You guys should go up there and that would be awesome to video that.
Do they show it there?
They still show the movie out on the pier, out on the beach, and then we need to send you the link to Sean Clark's Lost Boys. He goes up there and goes to the restaurants and to the original filming location of them dropping down off the bridge and all that. But he shows you things that have been changed there now. But man, if you guys are 2 hours away, I would have to go up there and see that. But the whole beach is filled full of people, and they have like a screen out on the beach where they show the movie. It looks awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That carousel hasn't changed much from when they did that carousel scene. The carousel still looks the same all these years.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. I think this has a great cast. I mean, Mike, like he said, he could have met Kiefer Sutherland, but
Yep.
And I'm sure it'll happen. It'll happen again, Mike. They'll come to something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it has a good. I mean, you got the Corys in it. Hell, Corey Feldman is still performing "Cry Little Sister" at his live shows from this movie. Isn't that right, Mike?
He is. That's probably his best song he sings too.
Yeah, people love it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mike. I mean, there's not a negative thing I can say about this movie. It's awesome. Mike, did you see that in the theater when it came out?
I did. I remember seeing that. Yep. And it was so incredible. Big. It kind of, I think when it came out, a lot of people didn't think it was going to be as big as it was. And it's kind of grown over the years. It's got a cult following. But I mean, people love the Vampires. The Vampires were like an 80s rock band back in the day. I mean, the long hair and the spiked and the different colors, the 80s color and stuff. I mean, they were just Kiefer Sutherland was cool as hell, man.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to be Kiefer Sutherland, he's like a Billy Idol.
Yes, he's really cool in that movie, no doubt. Gregory, do you have anything else you want to say about Lost Boys?
The grandfather in the movie was hilarious. He was like a kooky old man, and he knew the whole time that there were vampires because he has that last line at the end of it.
Yeah.
But I saw on Facebook where they showed his house, how it looked back then and how it looks now, and it really hasn't changed much.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Kind of crazy, but yeah, that is awesome.
Mike, we're gonna have to after this, send him that link to Sean's video. It's really cool.
Yeah, if anybody's ever watching the replay on this, I know we're an hour into it, but Sean Clark has an awesome video that just came out. What, about a month ago, Josh?
Yeah. Well, it's some old footage.
He filmed it a long time ago, and he kind of stopped because he said him and Corey Haim was friends, and he just didn't want to finish the video after he died. He just felt like recently that he could do it again and finish the video. Yep. And it's an incredible. He goes back and visits the area, shows you. I mean, the one thing I love about Sean Clark's videos like that is he tells you the addresses of. You could go see it yourself. You write the addresses down, and you can go and see it yourself. It's pretty awesome.
Derek saw the movie in the theater. I didn't know that.
Wow.
I never got to see it in the theater.
I was only
I was a sophomore in high school.
I was only 4.
You weren't old enough to watch it.
Yeah. Okay, Gregory, you're up next, buddy.
I'll say a couple because I don't know how far we're gonna go, but
we can each do a couple more. Mike, you got time or no?
Yeah, I got time.
Okay, let's do it.
We're probably in Derek's time period where he's ready to eat, probably, but I mean, I'm good to go.
You mean Gregory, not Derek?
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Derek's Playboy comment a while ago. I'm sorry.
I'm waiting for Derek to be home to eat, so it's fine.
Okay, Gregory, go ahead.
B-rated movies, The Gate and House. Did you?
Okay, yeah, I liked House.
Yeah, I like them. I think I have both. We have both of them on DVD. But yeah, The Gate is from a Stephen King book, and then House. I think House was just a comedic type of movie. And then you have some of my other movies down there.
Gregory, is The Gate that one that has those little creatures in it?
Yeah,
okay,
it's with
I've seen The Gate.
Dorff. Yeah, Brandon Dorff is in it when he's a kid.
Oh, Steven Dorff.
Or Steven, yeah, and then he ends up having to stab his hand with a glass because he has an eyeball on his hand.
Yeah, I have seen that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the sequel was horrendous, but the first one was good.
Look up the House now, Mike.
I real quick, I forgot about these, and if it's still in the 80s, but Ghoulies, God, how awful that was.
Yeah, that's
and
horrible.
Poltergeist 2 and 3, which Poltergeist 1 should be on this list for best, but Poltergeist 2 and 3, look at the horrible scores they got.
Poltergeist 2 isn't bad, is it?
No, Poltergeist 1 and 2 are actually on my list. And
did you say House?
For good movies, yes.
House.
And then Ghoulies is also on my list for B-rated. They had like 3 of those movies, 3 or 4 of them. I think I have 2 of them on DVD. They were like after Gremlins, which was on my list as well for good movies, but it's like a trend of these movies that started.
Yeah, so I don't mind House.
Yeah,
I didn't go back and watch it. I don't know that I remember it, to be honest with you. I remember seeing Anthony watch the other version of one called House. It was a kind of a kid scary movie that wasn't too bad, but I don't remember this one.
Yeah, I like them. So, I mean, there's one franchise we haven't brought up tonight, and I'm going to bring it up. Halloween. So, Halloween started in the 70s, as we all know, with an iconic movie, first movie.
On my list.
But then in 1981, they came out with Halloween 2, which is a very good movie and a very good sequel, in my opinion. I really like that. And then you go to kind of on the bad side, I think. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, came out in 82. I don't think it's that good of a movie. I know a lot of people came out and said, yes, this is actually a good movie. Watch it, blah, blah, blah. If you watch it for what it is and not think about Michael Myers. And I did. And I still didn't like it very much.
I thought the ending was really good. Like, it was horrible because he could do nothing about it, what was happening.
Yeah. No, I get that. What one's this, Mike? 2?
That's Halloween 2.
Yeah.
Jeez, the critic score for Halloween 2 is horrible.
Yeah, but the audience is 63.
Yeah,
that's not that good though, Mike. Not really for Halloween.
It's probably one of the highest rated Halloweens out there. I mean, other than the new ones, which I mean, I don't know what's going on there, but
I like this.
Look up Halloween 3 now, Mike.
I had to show that one.
No, we don't. That's in the 70s, dude. That's only during your time. You remember that one, not us.
The Danielle Harris one, the first one, that was pretty good.
Number 4? What?
No, we want put number 3 up there. Season of the Witch.
3 is good. I like it.
Mike, what did you think of Season of the Witch, man? We watched it recently and reviewed
it. I couldn't get into it, man. I know there's a big cult following for that.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal.
I like Tom Atkins in it. I mean, the guy's always trying to get laid and drink through the whole movie, isn't he, Mike?
That mask. That mask. That mask is horrible compared to the poster. That is a horrible mask.
Hey, Tom Atkins' character in that movie was talking to his kids on the phone saying, yeah, Dad will be home later. Hangs up the phone. He's got a 6-pack of beer and he hops in some strange woman's car.
Yep. He's a whore.
Yeah.
Halloween 25. It's going to be amazing.
Halloween 4 has this score? Holy crap. I think it's pretty good.
And that's the one with the pink mask too. That time in the fourth
That's
one.
the worst right
no,
there.
that's number 5. That's number 5.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yep.
I like
That's not very good.
I think that's number 5. Maybe it is number 4. I can't remember.
Oh my gosh, this is the
4 and
worst.
5 go together, so I like both of those.
That one's not in the 80s, Mike. That's in the 90s.
But that was kind of scary when I first saw it. The 6th
Number
one.
6 was in the 90s because I was going to talk about it. But yeah, number 4, I had come out in 88 and it was good. Number 5 came out in 89 and that one is bad. So what they did, Mike, they kind of did that. What they did was in number 4, it ends where you think the little girl is going to take up the code of being Michael Myers.
Yeah.
But and then number 5, that's all washed away and they went with a different whole storyline.
Yeah, I need to watch 5. I saw 4 and it's very end of it. Danielle Harris has that with the little girl.
That's
has the
all.
knife. She just came out of the bathroom.
That's all washed away, and they went with a totally different storyline in number 5.
In number 5.
Isn't that dumb? It's like, why not continue that on? And then they went with that weird cult thing where Michael Myers has that tattoo of a thorn in number 5 that he's like controlled by a cult or some crap. Oh, and then I shared a picture on our Facebook page. At the end of number 5, they capture Michael Myers and he's in jail in chains.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool, isn't it, Mike?
Saturday.
Josh, don't go there, Josh.
I've never heard of Saturday the 14th. Halloween 25. Yes, he'll be coming out in a walker at some point.
Yeah,
I'll get you.
I'll get you, my pretty.
So yeah. So definitely in the 80s, I think Halloween, I mean, they're 50-50. 2 were good, 2 were bad, in my opinion, in the 80s. So that's better than, I mean, actually, I don't know if that's better than Friday the 13th.
The 80s, though, they were trying to just really, it's not like the 70s.
Well,
I don't know of any franchise in the 70s that did this. Once you got to the 80s with sex, drugs, and rock and roll,
right,
and horror movies,
yeah,
they were just they were pumping them out like every year. I mean, they didn't care about the story. They just wanted something out there that would sell at the movie theaters.
Well, 4 didn't really go with 2 because in 2 he had both of his eyes shot out. He was bleeding, and then the 4th one, all of a sudden, he got his eyes back, and you know, it's just. I don't know. They should have made it more realistic if they were going to do that, but then he wouldn't be able to see.
Well, Gregory, what happened is that John Carpenter said this is the last movie of Michael Myers. He's dead. Like he's dead. He's definitely dead. Well, and then Season of the Witch came out. It bombed. People were pissed Michael Myers were in it, so they said, "To hell with that. We're making a Halloween and bringing Michael Myers back any way we can. We don't care." So that's
like
what happened.
Alternate universe type of thing.
No, same universe.
Yeah.
So they're just I don't know. It was weird.
It just went 1, 2, 4.
Well, in the 4th movie, in the beginning, he's all wrapped in bandages because he got burned up. Remember?
But what about his eyes? And I know Danielle Harris was playing Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter. Yeah.
So which I don't like. I never liked that her and Michael were related anyway. I didn't like that twist. I thought that it didn't need to happen. There was no need for it, in my opinion. But
I liked it because it made it more like, okay, her brother's after her and he's psychotic or whatever. I don't know. Mike, it just added to it for me.
Did you like it, Mike? Did you like that adding to the story or no?
I did. I didn't like how the last trilogy took it out.
Yeah. Well,
the last trilogy, I mean, if you think about it, if you jump straight from number 1 to the new trilogy, this was a guy that killed 3 or 4 people in a town.
Right.
40 years ago.
In the first movie, it was never discussed that she was related to him. That didn't get added until the second movie.
Right.
So that's why in the new trilogy, they said, oh, that's his sister. And they said, no, that's just some rumor that got started in town.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is by taking out the whole family dynamics of it to me lessened the story of the last trilogy because there's a lot of towns where some guy kills 2 or 3 people.
Right.
I mean, that happens all over the place, all over the US, everywhere throughout the world. You took out that storyline and like, why are these people really that mad at him for something that happened 40 years ago for 2 or 3 high schoolers that they didn't know. I mean,
right.
I don't know. We're talking about 80s and we're kind of talking about the new stuff,
Right.
but yeah, I
gotta
do
go,
think
Gregory?
overall
You gotta
Jason
go,
and
Gregory?
the Halloweens were kind of the big
Well,
stinkers. That
I didn't know if Derek needed help or not. Go ahead.
Okay, Mike, you can go then.
Oh, I don't have to go.
Oh, okay, Mike, you can. I know. I meant like Mike can say his next movie.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna put 2 in here real quick, and I'm gonna leave one out there as dangling fruit. But a lot of people either love or hate these. I've got the Evil Dead 1981, and I got Evil Dead 2 1987 as 2 that I like.
Yeah. So Evil Dead. Well, Evil Dead 2 is like a remake of Evil Dead 1. It's just like a more friendlier. It's better. I think Evil Dead 2 is better than Evil Dead 1, but it's basically the same movie.
I don't remember the sequel, and we have all 3 of them.
Yeah, Evil Dead 1 is really like low budget, but also groundbreaking film. It's a groundbreaking film. Is this the first one, Mike, or the second one?
This is the first one.
Okay, okay. I'd be interested to see the rating of the second one. Now, that's really high. Holy crap.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really, 86 and 84, that's...
Yeah.
And it is low budget and cheap, but it's just something unique for that time period.
Yeah, I like it. No, and Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, they did great on this. Yeah, I like it. It's really it's cheap though. It's cheaply made, but it's just it's just like an independent film now. Really.
Okay, so it's actually a higher score.
Yeah, it's better. Evil Dead 2 is better than 1, in my opinion.
The picture doesn't look too great, but
still
an 88 and an 89 for Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, it's better. I love it. That's the part at the end that's great where that demon thing's like, I'll swallow your soul. And he goes, swallow this. And he shoots it in the head with a shotgun.
They made it more funnier, I think, comedic. So,
there's more comedy in it. The first one's more straight horror. The second one's horror and comedy mixed.
Yeah, they start being that way after that. They start adding comic type little one-liners here and there.
It's in the 90s, but I absolutely adore and love Army of Darkness, and that's a pure comedy. But I love that movie.
Yeah, I like the stop motion animation and all that.
Yeah. Okay, Mike. Yeah, those are good ones, Mike. I didn't have those on my list. Gregory, do you wanna go?
Yeah, I'll do. So, Gremlins is one of my good ones. But then there's a couple others that go with it. I don't know if you heard of Munchies and Ghoulies. They were kind of like after another. And then there's Critters 1 and 2. I love Critters 1, but the second one is good. And after that, they kind of fell flat for me.
I have Critters on my list, actually. I have Critters on my list. I have Critters 1 and Critters 2 over here.
Where?
Munchie's movie poster, it's a little monster looking up the girl's dress. I mean,
where's the first part of that?
This is the decade that Mike grew up in, guys.
Yeah. I told you, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. There's only one review on this, so it didn't even get a score on Tomato Meter.
Yeah. I still remember in the movie, there's this lady that she was eating tater tots. Apparently, she goes, "These tater tots make my eyeballs itch," and I'm like, "What are you even talking about?"
Hey,
but I remember lightning; they turn into statues.
Gregory, was she from North Carolina? The lady that said that?
She was some country type sounding person.
Some country type. All right, y'all are demographically profiling myself.
I don't know where she was from.
Hey, what was that? Critters 1, Mike? Got in.
Yeah, that got a 51 and a 45.
Yeah, I don't think that's as bad. That's got Dee Wallace in it, man, from E.T. and from Cujo, from The Howling.
That's a classic, but I like the sequel even well, not more, but I like it because they like had this huge ball of them coming out at one
Yeah,
point.
it's sweet. I like that too. I think I like the first Critters. And then the third Critters, which I don't think took place in the 80s, but the third Critters, I think, had Leonardo DiCaprio in it. It's like one of his first roles ever.
There's like 5 of them now, I think.
Yep. I want to bring up a bad movie right now real quick if we're still going here. And
Yeah.
you guys will laugh because I think you guys have both seen this one. It is a Stephen King adaptation. Maximum Overdrive.
I knew you were gonna say that. I was just thinking that was horrendous. Yes.
It's so Stephen King, this is the first movie he ever directed, I think. And they said he was fueled by cocaine during this whole movie.
Yep.
And the movie is Mike, do you remember that movie?
That's the one that's got the green thing on the front of the green face on the front of the truck.
Yeah.
So like there's a pop machine that like shoots pop out and hits a guy in the nuts.
Yeah. And the children too. It was hitting the children, the baseball players.
Oh, and then there's like a roller that rolls over a kid, right? A kid?
I think so, yeah.
Hey guys, we have not talked about this one though, man.
What is it?
Goblin thing they found in a junkyard at one point. Oh yeah,
what one's that? What's
Pumpkinhead.
That
Pumpkinhead from Lance Henriksen.
Oh, Gregory, yeah, the hobgoblin head on the front of that semi.
They found it, I think, in a junkyard, and I think somebody took it and kind of tried to restore it or something.
Yeah, it was found in North Carolina, believe it or not. out in the middle of a field, and they took it up to Michigan and got it fixed.
Yeah, whatever, Mike. Hey, I like Pumpkinhead, the first one. It's cheesy, but man, oh gosh, the guy that did the puppeteer, and can't remember his name right now. The guy that
Stan Winston.
Yeah, Stan Winston. He did a really great job with this creature. I think he directed this movie, didn't he, Mike?
Yeah, director Stan Winston. Yep.
Yeah. It was like I think it was like one of the first movies he directed. Yeah, I like it. Lance Henriksen as an actor, met him, funny guy, good guy. Loves to smoke cigarettes, but yeah, I mean, I think Pumpkinhead's okay. Gregory, did you ever see Pumpkinhead?
Sorry, I didn't want to. I had to mute it because Derek was getting ice. So yes, I did see Pumpkinhead. I think there's 2 of them, and I think I only saw the first one. But
I think there's way more than 2.
Are there?
Mike, see how many Pumpkinhead movies there are.
I just thought it was kind of. It was kind of. Well, it was sad with the little boy, and then he brought the boy to a witch lady or whatever, and basically sold his soul to become the Pumpkinhead, because they were connected basically.
4 of them.
Oh my gosh. They probably got
cheesier. Lance Henriksen has been in 3 out of 4, and guess who was in number 2? Kane Hodder. Kane Hodder was in number 2.
Really? So him and Lance worked together in a movie?
Huh?
So him and Lance worked together in a movie then?
Lance wasn't in number 2. He was in number 1, 3, and 4.
Really?
How could he be in those? Was he playing the same character? Because this character didn't make it in the first one.
Maybe he was playing Pumpkinhead.
I don't know.
Man, Lance Henriksen's been in like seriously some epic movies. I mean, you got Terminator, Aliens, you got Scream. He's in the Scream franchise. He's in Pumpkinhead. I mean, the guy's been in a ton of stuff. It's crazy.
I can't believe nobody's brought up Alien.
I have Aliens. I have 1986 Aliens on mine. I love it. I think
you just said what I was going to say. Yeah. Aliens is awesome.
It's better than the first one, in my opinion, but it's a different kind of a movie. Like the first one's more horror, and the second one's more action-based. But for me, I think James Cameron did amazing with the second one. I love it. I think the cast is better.
So, a couple more we have not brought up, and I know we're almost hour and a half into this, but Poltergeist. Kind of briefly brought that up earlier. Poltergeist,
really especially
the first one. Yeah,
I like 1 and 2. The third one,
And then the Hellraiser, 1987.
I love Hellraiser. Dude,
I haven't seen any of those.
oh, you never seen the first one, Gregory? It's awesome.
I started watching it, and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to see this.
Oh, man.
It's pretty rough for its time period. I mean, it's pretty rough.
It's really good special effects. That's one series I want to deep dive in because I've really only seen the first one. I've seen the parts of the second one. We saw the remake, which I thought was pretty good. Mike, I thought that was decent.
The only one I saw was Bloodlines. That's the only one I've seen. I don't even remember it.
I really like it, and I like the Pinhead character. I like a lot. And Mike, you actually met Doug Bradley, so
Yep. Yeah, he was a really good guy, and
he didn't
a ton of stories. He was one of the cheapest persons signing autographs,
and he didn't charge an arm, like you said, didn't charge an arm and a leg.
$40.
I'll be right back.
Okay, man. Yeah, I really like the Hellraiser series, Mike. I mean, I heard that 1 and 2 and 3 are good, and anything after 3 isn't that good.
Well, 2 right here.
What year was that? What year was 2?
1988, so it came out a year later.
But
it drops all the way to 53 and 58.
I'd have to watch that one, Mike, because I don't remember it that well. So, but I know it's a direct sequel to the first one. It's like a direct sequel. What about number 3? Did that come out in the 90s?
Wait a minute. Why does this one say 70, 73? And the other one said, okay, that's the number 1.
Right.
You said number 3?
Yeah, that might have been in the 90s.
It may be in 90 or 91. Let's see.
And that was filmed in your area, I think, Mike, number 3.
Yep, right here in Greensboro and High Point.
Man, you got to do some kind of recon on that at some point, man.
Yeah, score went way down on that one, 38 and 35. And it was 1992, so it wasn't
okay. Yeah, so we'll leave that one out. But I agree. I think Hellraiser's good. I highly recommend. I mean, that's one of those ones that really gets involved as well.
This one I didn't think was so bad, and it got a 30 and a 31. I need to go back and watch it. Me, I was an 80s headbanger. I loved the heavy metal. The soundtrack, the soundtrack for this was awesome.
Oh, yeah, that movie's cheesy, dude.
Yeah, had Metallica and Megadeth on the soundtrack. Really awesome soundtrack.
That's Wes Craven.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that movie, but it's cheesy, I think, a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, it probably won't hold up over time, definitely.
Well, remember, like a lot of 80s rockers did stuff for horror movies. Like Dawkins did a whole song for Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
God, I don't even remember this one, guys. This is 1989.
I think I saw that like months ago. I don't even remember it.
What is it?
Deep Star 6.
Never saw it.
1989 horror, and it's got a 15 and a 26.
I never heard of that. Hey, I want to read a couple off here that I had. I had Predator, 1987. I had Critters, like you said. Another one that we reviewed, Mike. I had Monster Squad on here, 1987. And then I had. I didn't have any other bad ones. I mean, Maximum Overdrive was the last one. Oh, another honorable mention. Pet Sematary was 89.
Yeah.
And that had the Ramones. Don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. I like that. Any other ones you have, Mike or Gregory, that you want to kind of put out there?
That's all mine on my list.
There's one that I actually like. We have the DVD that has both of them, and I think I've only seen the first one. Where's my list at? It's called Waxwork. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
No.
They go through a wax museum.
It's got your Gremlins guy, Zach Galligan, in it.
Oh, okay.
But when you cross over the barrier of the scene, you actually end up in the scene of the wax scene. So I remember there's a werewolf, there's a vampire scene. There's some other scenes in it. It has the older guy from Titanic. He was the He was Billy Zane's like right-hand man. He was in Scream 2. He was Sydney's teacher, the drama teacher. So
Yeah.
he was in the first Waxwork.
He was in
it
Secret of the Ooze.
Yep, it wasn't bad. It's a B-rated movie in my opinion, so that's what I put. And then you mentioned Puppet Master, also the movie Dolls. That was pretty cheesy. I don't know if you've ever seen Dolls, but that was cheesy.
Troll.
Yep, Troll was pretty bad. And I
What
have
about Leprechaun? Was that in the 90s?
Yeah, Leprechaun was 93, Mike.
Yeah. Trolls had a musical part in it too, where like they were all singing and stuff. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah. And dude, that had two. Didn't that have two? Oh no, that had Daniel Stern in Troll from Home Alone fame. It had Julia Louis-Dreyfus was in it from Seinfeld. Had some like up and coming stars in it.
I think it had what's his name? Bono. Cher's ex, Sonny Bono, was in the first or second one, I think.
No, we all know Troll 2 was that one where he goes, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
So, yeah, man, I thought Tremors was the 80s, but it wasn't. It was 1990. I was like, dang, I love Tremors.
Yeah, Troll 2 is 1990 also.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think Cat's Eye was 80s. That was actually good. That was like an anthology with Drew Barrymore with that little troll guy that came out.
Oh, dude, Creep Show, Mike.
That was on my list.
Creep Show 1 and 2. Y'all didn't have it on here.
That was on my
Dang,
list.
Creep Show, dude. The original Creep Show is phenomenal.
I
love it. Get that score up, Mike, for that one. Let's see Creep Show.
Yeah, the raft and the Indian story, those both freaked me out when I was a kid.
That's number 2. That's Creep Show 2.
Okay. I don't remember the first one.
So the score Creep Show is 65 and 69, which is
I love it. It's great. It has, I mean, that's Tom Savini at his best almost, dude. That's really good Tom Savini. Where I wouldn't say his best because he did like Friday the 13th Part 4 and stuff, but he did a really good in Creep Show. And Creep Show 2 I like a lot too. It's not as strong, Gregory, because it only has three stories instead of 5, but it's still not bad. I still enjoy Creep Show 2.
Yeah, 29 to 41. It's right.
What about the
third one too, I thought.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with it. It's horrible, I heard.
Okay.
What about The Burning, Mike? That was pretty good.
Yep, The Burning was a good movie.
Mike, you never said Sleepaway Camp. Mike, you never said Sleepaway Camp, bro.
I like Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You never said it.
Man, we had an hour and a half. I couldn't put 40 on here, man. Jeez.
I actually like the sequel. I mean, I grew up watching Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3. I don't know I think 3 was maybe the 90s, but Sleepaway Camp 2 I like still.
Yeah, I've got this movie poster up on my wall down here, Sleepaway Camp.
Have you know, have you ever seen Sleepaway Camp, Gregory?
No, and I actually saw something about it on Facebook, I think, yesterday too.
It's got one of the weirdest endings to it. I'm not going to say what it is if you haven't watched it. Those that have watched it. But Sleepaway Camp is right there in that whole 80s slasher, Friday the 13th type camp movies. So there's a lot of similarities to them.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I think, yeah, man. We could talk movies. I mean, there's a lot more. But like I said, I can't believe I forgot about Creep Show. I love that movie.
I think down the road, Josh, you and I talked about this, and Gregory, we're kind of running it by you right now, is down the road, I think we ought to do some lives and like do certain years, like 1980, 1981, 1982, so we could really deep dive in, because this 10 years is a lot to try to put in our show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let's pick some years out, just random, like 1988, 1990. We go in the 90s, 1995, 1992, and just deep dive into those movies and good and the bad of them.
Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. And
Derek was mentioning the 70s too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to do the 70s. You know me, I love the 70 horror.
Which Halloween would be like the creme de la creme for that, probably.
Yeah. I'm
Exorcist.
personally not a huge fan of 70s horror because I personally think it's pretty slow, but I would do it if you guys picked it.
I don't know too many. I just know Halloween and now Mike said.
Well, we may be that may be one we just do the whole 70s as a group, and then we dive into the 80s and 90s, because 80s and 90s horror is kind of it's all classic, but it's probably more popular.
I mean, like 2000 horror, even Mike has some pretty solid stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good show, man. Appreciate
right.
coming on, Gregory.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Gregory. And hey, please like, comment, subscribe. If you made it this far, you might as well give us a thumbs up and hit that like and subscribe. You guys have a good night.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.